Over here, talk to my man Blue from Blue Bloods Boxing.
Salute. What's good with my peoples, man? Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, man. What's shaking with y'all, man?
What you think about the press conference today, Ruiz-Joshua Part 2?
I think today's press conference was a lot better than yesterday's press conference because I truly believe deep down that neither fighter wants to be in Saudi Arabia. I think that they got comfortable with being there. You know, they being complacent with being there, but they don't truly want to be there, but that's where the money is at. They would much rather have it and be more comfortable in their backyard or in the States. You know, Anthony Joshua said something that was telling. He said, I never thought that I'd fight outside the UK or outside of the States. So that lets me know that mentally, he's not truly on board with fighting in Saudi Arabia. He's just going with the plan, you know what I'm saying? But today's press conference is what they used to, so they're more comfortable, they're more relaxed. It's their backyard, it's their, you know what I'm saying? So today's press conference was much better, and I think tomorrow's press conference in the UK is going to not be as live as this, but it's going to be liver than it was in Saudi Arabia, though.
Now, there's a big difference between Ruiz-Joshua 1 and 2, and the biggest difference is that we're here now.
Right.
We're here now.
Right,
we actually got invited here now.
Right.
Can you speak on that a little bit?
You know, I actually talked to somebody behind the scenes. I don't want to mention his name, but I talked to somebody behind the scenes that said that Joshua is surrounded by usually you have a bunch of yes men, but Joshua is surrounded by a bunch of no men. You know, so meaning that they're saying no to a certain demographic of media. You know, they're targeting certain media members and saying, nah. You know, they try to control Anthony Joshua's, how could I say it? They control his world, right? So that's why he comes off as predictable, right? He comes off as robotic. He comes off as, it's calculated. You know, it's not sincere. It's not from the heart. You know, all his answers is like written. You know what I'm saying? It's
very
like
scripted.
Right. It's very scripted. All his stuff is everything. You know, you ask him a question and it comes off as what he's supposed to say. And I always say this to people, right? Anthony Joshua, as of late on social media and interviews, has been a different person. But he's truly not been a different person. He's truly being himself. So see, I always refer this to movies, right? Denzel Washington, you know, I like him in Training Day. People always say when they see you doing something that's out the norm for them, they say you acting out of character.
Right.
But in fact, you're acting in character, and that's why they like you. So Denzel Washington in Training Day, Denzel Washington in Equalizer, I like that Denzel Washington, right? Because he's in character, right? But if I see Denzel Washington and we're just eating some pizza or at dinner, I'm going to get Denzel Washington. And am I going to like that Denzel Washington? Because now he's going to be himself. He's not going to be the character that he portrays on TV. And that's Anthony Joshua, right? Anthony Joshua is in character right now. He's in character as we normally see him. And so that's what people like. He's respectable, right? But in all actuality, he's acting. And when he got frustrated and doing these interviews and on social media and lashing out at Lennox Lewis, he's indeed acting who he really is. So when you see him, the person that you like, he's in character. So when people say that you're getting out of character, right, it's just truly a way of them saying that they like you when they can control your environment. Period.
So you think it was the power to be in quote unquote, I hate to say this word, but puppeteers around him.
That's exactly what it is.
That kept out most of the minority media.
Right.
Because
they like to control who Anthony Joshua is. And so you see, once there's me and you, right? I'm not gonna let you see me at the first press conference when I asked him about Deontay Wilder, and when I'm talking to him, you see Eddie Hearn jumps in and interferes, right? They don't want to let him talk. They don't want to let him be. That's why he's always talking about all these sponsors that he have, right? Because they're afraid, they're protecting his image, so they don't want to let him be himself. So that lets us know that they don't like the person he is when he's himself.
They don't think it's
and they know that we are going to bring out who he truly is.
So you think they kept us away?
Absolutely.
They took him out the village.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, he was going to hit a pat of the jungle drum.
Absolutely.
And talk some real shit.
Absolutely. They know, you see, they like a controlled environment for him. And they know certain media members and certain writers that they can control the environment, right? They're not going to ask him questions that's going to bring the true Anthony Joshua out. That's off script. See, if I ask him a question that's not, you know, they already prepped him, right? So if I ask him a question that's not on the test, he don't know how to answer it.
Gotcha.
Right? See, they already pre-gave him the test. Here go the test right here. Here go the answers. Right? At number 1, you're going to check box C. Number 2, you're going to check box A. Right? Now, I come in with a different test and put it on the table. Now I give him number 1, but this is not what he's used to.
Right.
So now he's going to answer off script. And so that's what they don't want. You know, I'm surprised they let us here today.
I was a little shocked too, man, when I got the email. I was like, oh, that's peculiar.
And what's funny is we know it's not him.
Right.
Right? Because you see, he wants to answer the questions.
Yeah.
Right?
And he down with Shannon and the way they act.
Right. He wants to interact.
Right.
That's why you see him at the press conference today when he's sitting on the stage, he's like this. He's not blinking. He's not moving. He's stiff as a board. He's uncomfortable. He's not being himself. And this is how they want. This is why so many sponsors invest in him.
Right.
Because they can control him. This is why Deontay Wilder was so upset with him. Because they can control him. And Deontay Wilder said, listen, I had a personal conversation with you. And he didn't know how to respond to that personal conversation. And he took it back to the controllers.
And they was just on the side talking.
Right.
Personal,
And he's just
man.
personal talk. And he was the one that reached out to Deontay Wilder and asked Deontay Wilder, is this real? So that further lets us know that he's being controlled. Right? He's willing to step out that box. He just don't know how to approach it.
So pretty much we like the camera flash and get out.
Right.
He'll see that flash and have a snap of realness.
Exactly. They don't want him to be that. That's exactly what it is. You see, he says when he went to Africa and the little girl asked him, how come you fight for the UK and represent the UK and you don't fight and represent us? And then you get a lot of people that's gonna say, well, he comes out with the flag, right? But that's not enough. And then you remember he had that incident that continues to get swept under the rug, right? When he had with Eddie Chambers.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yes.
Eddie, he told Eddie Chambers, the African American race is the superior race on this earth.
Yes.
Respect that. And then Eddie Chambers leaked it, and then he backtracked and said, no, that wasn't me, I was hacked. But you can see they was having a personal conversation, so that's who he truly is. But you see, once that came out, people started, the sponsors, they were ready to pull a plug. They were ready to pull a plug on
a $50 million plug.
Right, so, you know, the powers that be say, listen, this is how you got to follow the script, right? Because they know who he truly is. So he truly is that man that said the black race, the African American race is a superior race. That's truly who he is, right? And that's who they're afraid of.
So I want the brothers to give you props, man, and my fans to give you props, because you spearheaded that campaign that we got blackballed from the last fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you were one of the first to do a video. I know a couple other brothers I did a video, but you were one of the first that I saw, man. Just take my hat off to you. You the Rosa Parks.
I appreciate you.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what it is is that people are afraid, man. I'm not afraid that I am who I am.
These niggas scared to death.
They're scared, man.
They're scared to death.
They're scared to be blackballed. You know what I'm saying? But listen, if I can't come here and be me and ask the questions, I always say this. I am the bridge between the fans and the athletes.
Right.
And so if I'm not doing the job for the fans, then what am I here for? And if I can't come here because they're afraid to let the fans express themselves, right? Then the fans need to know that. So then I can sit home. No problem. You don't want me there? I tell the fans why you don't want me there.
Right.
You understand? Because at the end of the day, I always tell people this. The fans reach in their pocket, pull their money out, and literally put it in the athlete's pocket.
Yep.
So without the fans, right, you don't have a sport. Right, they don't exist, right? We saw Andy Ruiz today. He had all his jewelry on, right? He living a life. Yeah, that came from the victory he got, but that also came because the fans supported him. and he continues to get the fan support. So without the fan support, if I can't be real and support and give it to the fans real, then what am I here for? My own personal use? No, I'm doing this. I'm milking the fans. I can't milk the fans. And so here's the thing: if we can't be able to fight because we are too truthful, because that's really what it boils down to, right? We asking real questions we asking the questions, right, that the fans want asked.
Yep.
We're not asking questions that me and you just sat down and said, well, let's jot this down and ask this. It comes from the fans, right? We want to see Wilder and Joshua. Why we want to see Wilder and Joshua?
That's the
right?
fight to see.
Right, that's the fight to see. And that's what the fans call for. We wanted to see Floyd and Pacquiao. That's what the fans call for, right? So if we're not going to do our job and be the voice for the fans, then what are we here for? So regardless if they blackball me or not, I got to be the voice of the fans. I got to give it to a real. And if they're going to blackball us, see, other people was blackballed and they was afraid to let it be known that they was blackballed because they don't want to be blackballed further. Well, what was the reason I was blackballed in the begin with?
Right.
So that you're not protected further down the line. You could get blackballed again. So you might as well speak your piece.
And then they end up controlling you like they control your man.
Right. See, Deontay Wilder doesn't get the same praise as a lot of fighters. It's because he speaks his piece.
He's his own man.
He's his own man. I could text Deontay Wilder right now, right? And he gonna answer me. Just the other day, I got a music video. I said, yo, champ, text him. 12 o'clock at night, yo, champ. Yo, I got this video, blah, blah, blah. Check this out, boom. Gave it to him. Yo, I appreciate you, Blue. Thanks, man. Next thing I know, he put it up on his Instagram.
Real brother.
Real dude. Right? I did an interview with him 2 hours long. He started telling me, man, he can ask me what my wife cooking. We just got so come. We done so far off base.
Right.
He like, yo, what you eating for breakfast?
He could chill. He could be himself. He
Right.
could get comfortable.
And the reason he could be himself is because there's nobody controlling him.
Right.
He's satisfied with his outcome. Listen, I made enough. You can't control me with. He told me, listen, Joshua is going to regret not taking that $50 million because he know it was there. And the worst thing is, he asked me for proof. And when I showed him proof, he went back and told everybody else what our personal conversation was about. That lets you know that he's mentally being controlled. And it shows in the ring, right? The last fight with Andy Ruiz, he's making up. The reason he lost is because he heard the crowd booing. Well,
I ain't never heard no shit like that in my life.
Right, but furthermore, it's a contradiction because this is the contradiction. How could you possibly hear the crowd booing? He said he heard the crowd booing and he went in for the kill on Andy Ruiz, but Andy Ruiz wasn't ready to go. Right? Now, there's an issue with that because if you drop Andy Ruiz, the crowd was cheering. They were never booing. So you wasn't pressured to go in for the kill because they were actually cheering for you. They were never booing. So that was one excuse. Then his other excuse was mentally he wasn't there because his mom was on Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. What you had the opportunity to fight Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, you forgot that you originally was fighting Jarrell Big Baby Miller.
Right.
You only fought Andy Ruiz because Jarrell Big Baby Miller allegedly failed the drug test and had to be pulled from it. So it wasn't by choice. You chose to these actions, right? You came to America to fight Jarrell Big Baby Miller, but you wasn't coming to America for $50 million to fight Deontay Wilder for Undisputed. That's your choice. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So if you mentally focus on them, well, which one is it? Because then you switched and turned around and said you wasn't motivated, and 9 times out of 10, people see you and see him that you're supposed to win the fight. Then you say he was gifted from the hand of God. Which one is it?
Too many excuses.
Too many excuses. Then he goes to say his gum shield. He didn't quit the gum shield, right? He's used to having a gum shield in his mouth, and the ref will give you the opportunity. If you don't have the gum shield in your mouth, they don't call the fight off in the UK. And that's probably a rule. That might be a rule. But still in all, you didn't look too motivated to step back in there. And then he says that he didn't even remember the fight.
Yeah.
So if you didn't remember it, how you remember what took place for you not to be successful? It's bad business, man.
So give me a prediction.
I think styles make fights. If Andy Ruiz is motivated, like I hope he is, right? As a fight, we're gonna get a great fight. If he's motivated, styles make fights. He don't mind trading with him. That's the problem. Anthony Joshua is too slow and he's too stiff. And so what happens is, he throws a jab. Andy Ruiz is gonna throw with him, right? He's quicker than he is. So, but if Andy Ruiz is, because he said something that was telling to me yesterday that he feels the pressure to be successful in this fight. That's huge, because you fighting not just Anthony Joshua, you fighting outside of the ring. You fighting not to fail. Mentally, that could be a block, right? And already you had success. You're going on a tour. You celebrating. You're on all these TV shows. You're on all these networks. You understand what I'm saying? You buying new houses, new jewelry. Regardless of what he says, you're a human being, and you can get complacent. If you get knocked down like you did the first time, are you going to say to yourself, what am I doing? I already got paid twice. I'm already financially secure for my future. Or can you dig deep and say, I ain't letting it go? But those are two battles he's having within himself and not even with Anthony Joshua. So now he's battling 3 times. Quit, keep fighting, and Anthony Joshua. And we know Anthony Joshua is going to come better prepared. But Paulie Malignaggi said something that was important to me. He says, Andrew Ruiz, everything we feel like Anthony Joshua is going to elevate, that's just going to elevate Andrew Ruiz because he already have a head start. So if Anthony Joshua get better, he's just pushing Andrew Ruiz to get better. You see what I'm saying? And so I like that, because Andy Ruiz too only had a short camp. So Joshua was saying that Andy Ruiz, he said Andy Ruiz, he didn't know who he was. Just this press conference alone, this short period of time, got him to know more about Andy Ruiz than he initially knew about Andy Ruiz the entire build-up for the first fight. Well, the same goes vice versa. The only difference is Andy Ruiz wasn't a champ, so he didn't have the pressure on his back. But I always tell people, this is the biggest fight of Andy Ruiz Jr.'s career. Not the first fight. The first fight, he had the art of the unknown. He had the art of surprise on his side. And nobody thought he was going to win, right? So he surprised Anthony. He can't surprise Anthony Joshua this time. But that boils down now to the skills. And I think that Andy Ruiz's skill set is all wrong for Anthony Joshua. And I think Andy Ruiz is going to win again.